Good morning, it's Thursday and welcome to Summer's Way of Life. So today I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to share what I'm doing with you now and then explain a few other bits and pieces. So here goes. So first of all, let me just open these up for you and just show you what this is. I made yogurt. In fact, I've been practicing homemade yogurt for quite a while now. And well, about 3 weeks. I did it some time ago, but it never came out quite well. But this time I persisted and I persevered. I didn't give up after the first go. And this is the way to do it. And I watched my mum. I spent a lot of time. If you're lucky enough to have your mother alive, especially a mum who was born in the traditional way of life, like my mother was in India in the 1940s, that traditional way of life where everything was home cooked, everything was from the land. You didn't have technology invading your mind, penetrating and infiltrating your mind from a different source. You are very lucky, and most people, and I have to say most because it is in the Western world, they neglect their elderly and they do not realise not just a disservice to them but to themselves, because they will regret it later in life. They always do. These are gems. The knowledge, the real knowledge that you and I need is with them, and as each generation passes, that knowledge disappears because we don't live in the same way anymore. And with every fibre of my being, I'm going to spend every second of the time I can to practice and remember and learn from our valuable elderly. And so if you've got a mum like I have and a dad, sit down and talk to them and listen to them. It's the most valuable thing you can do, and learn from them. So let me turn this around, and this is where I'm watching my mum, and she told me it's all about the temperature. And here is a traditional clay pot. I walked down to the local hardware shop, Indian hardware shop. They've got a lot of products imported from India, and this is proper clay. It's not treated, none of this stupid varnish, because it absorbs the excess moisture. And you can see how creamy this yogurt looks. Look, I've actually ate some of this. It's got thick balai, which is like the cream set on top. And this is unhomogenized milk that I used. I must talk about milk another time. And it tastes absolutely exquisite. Over here, I'm making another batch of halim because we've got Eid coming up, and albeit I'm not religious at all, I follow the word of the Quran, and also I trust my inner instinct, which actually is what the Quran tells one to do. What God says. God is the mind behind the universe. So now I'm making another batch because traditionally I'm going to celebrate with everybody, obviously, and I'm going to be cooking the main meals just to take some of the headache off of my mum, because she does it all and it's hard for her. So these are 5 different types of dal. There's pearl barley, rice. I practiced this 2 weeks ago. I'm not making that today, but I have put the meat on, big chunks of neck meat. And if you check the shorts today, you'll just see the raw ingredients. So that's cooking on a very low heat with lots of spices, garlic, ginger, turmeric. Oh gosh, it's so hot. This is a proper cast iron crock pot on a very low heat, and it's just going to cook on that all day. Now the other thing, look, we don't all get up every morning feeling amazing. There are always days where I'm not feeling too good today, or you have brain fog, which I had because I have got a weakness for sweet things. been eating a little too much over the last few days, and I woke up with brain fog. And it's very easy when you have that feeling in your head of heaviness and thickness. You can get very down. I know people that get very down and depressed. And this is where practice comes in, where you just say to yourself, you've got to master your mind, and you snap out of it. And by snapping out of it is what you do. So I know, let me give you an example. I know I have several things to do today, some of them which require me to sit down on a computer, read and think. Now, I know that probably that wouldn't be best for me with the way I'm feeling right now. I'm in the present, right? So I'm always living now. And I know what I need to do. When you master this, it's very powerful. So the first thing I did was say to myself, right, let me get a piece of paper. I do this anyway on a broader scale, but right now, let me get a piece of paper. And what am I going to do right now that I need to do? I need to go in the loft and get something. I need to cook this, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. So I've done that. And now, rather than worry, I'll just focus on those things and tick them off as I go along. Really helps when you start ticking things off because you feel like you've done something, which you have, so that you're aware that you've done something, because your mind can trick you. The next thing I do is, what can I do? Remember what we eat, and I talked about this in a previous video, that everything we eat has an effect immediately on the brain. It doesn't really have much effect on the rest of the body, only insofar as there's a gut-brain connection, that whatever you eat in your digestive system goes through your parasympathetic system straight into your brain through the vagus nerve. Okay, so I know, what can I do to help my mind think differently right now? Now, for me, because we're all different, for me, I immediately go for a green juice. Now, that's not me advocating juices. I am not somebody that will ever juice a fruit and pulverize a fruit and then raise my sugar level, my insulin levels go up. But I understand when I need it to go into my brain as quickly as possible and refresh my mind. So I use cucumber, I use celery, I use ginger, fresh ginger, lemon juice, and I do have a super green powder. It's one that I purchased order in from Australia. It's expensive. I do need to put another batch in, but because of what's happening around the world, I just need to check 100% that it looks okay, and then trust my inner guidance. And I put a spoon of that in because it contains chlorophyll and all these other things that send oxygen to the brain. And I've got it. This is my juice. I blend it up, nothing sweet in there at all. And I've just drunk half of this glass, and it was basically the whole lot here, which is about half a litre, I would say. And that's going to go straight down me, the rest of it. And I'm already within 5 minutes feeling recharged. It's very powerful. I'm also going to bake a cake today because I've got visitors, family coming. My son's arriving today, and I'm not thinking just about me. So I'm going to bake a lovely cake. So what I've seen here that I had these bananas that went all soggy and soft. So I'm going to mash them all up. Here is a mandarin from earlier this morning. I never throw the peel, either it goes in the compost heap, but then what I do is I grate the actual outer skin, and I use that as a flavouring in cakes. And even I might squeeze the liquid out of a mandarin or an orange and use that in cakes as well. I just think, where can I use that? So I'm going to do just a normal Victoria cake, which is 6, 6, 6 and 3. You can look up what I mean by that. And then I'm going to add some banana just to it, and some of that mandarin peel. I might add a little bit of extra baking powder to the self-raising flour because the banana's quite dense, and I've learned that when there's something very dense, you need something to lighten it up. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to try that, and that will be a lovely cake for later. I'm also going to make a really nice fruit cake, a dense fruit cake that lasts, and I love that. It doesn't need a lot of sugar. It's got lots of different types of fruit, sultanas and currants and mixed fruit and cherries and so on in there. So that's what I'm doing today. And immediately I'm starting to feel better because I'm just focusing what I need to do now. Now, from a biodynamic perspective, it's a root day today, and it's no longer a descending moon. The moon is ascending, and during an ascending moon time, because the nutrients are being drawn out of the earth upwards towards the moon. Remember, the waters of our being. The moon affects the waters of our being. So it's pulling up the nutrients. It's an ascending moon, but it's also a waning moon. A waning moon means that obviously it's not growing. It's going down into a new moon. All these things need to be taken into consideration. So I'm not going to be doing any transplanting today. Transplanting is when I could take some of my seedlings out and transplant them into bigger pots. I will never do that on an ascending moon. I will only do it on a descending moon because I don't want to upset the roots and all the energy be taken out. I want the energy coming down into the roots. So I'll wait another 2 weeks for when the moon starts its descent, and I'll wait for the right lunar day. But what I am going to do today, now that it's not rain, it's been raining for 2 days, is I am going to sow some courgette seeds in a basket. It's not a fruit day. That ended yesterday, but it's okay. I couldn't get out yesterday, so I'm going to sow them in a basket. And I'll share with you another time how I get on with that. And I'm going to put that out into the driveway so it's facing the sun. So don't forget to look at the notes below. I'll add a few extra things for you. And get cooking, get in your kitchen, take command of your mind. Take charge of your mind, take charge of how you think, keep yourself positive. Above all, keep yourself moving. Keep the body moving. That keeps the brain alive, alert. And then when you go into stillness and you sit down quietly and stay very still, do that consciously, because that is an exercise as well. Really consciously, if you can do it for 15 minutes and just be in nature and just keep still. It's like a meditation of sorts. It's very powerful, because when you do that, that's when all the answers come to you, and you need to act upon it. You need to trust that insight. You don't need to look externally for any answers. Nowhere else, not myself here. I'm just giving you an example of a way of life I lead that might improve yours. All of my answers come to me in those moments of stillness, or very early, first thing in the morning, before my mind has had a chance to think. Yes, from the I'm still in a hypnotic state. I can't remember what they call it, alpha, beta, theta, whatever it is. But I'm still in that sleep state, that dream state. And then whatever comes into my mind, first, second, third thing, I quickly get up and I write it down, and then I act on it, because that's normally coming from the right source and the right place. And I know I can trust it. And never wake up with an alarm, because you won't get those insights if your hypnotic state is, you feel shaken out of your hypnotic state very quickly. Always wake up naturally, which means sleep early. Have a wonderful day.